Hello, welcome to another episode of the Well-Appointed Desk. I don't normally do video reviews for products. I tend to do written reviews on wellappointeddesk.com and do a lot of photography and that kind of thing. But I decided that in the case of a carrying case kind of thing, it might be more interesting to actually open it and show you how it works and maybe compare it in size to some others, which is a little bit harder to do with still pictures. So I thought I would go, this is the Elgaba pencil case. I got this from Jet Pens. It is from Kutsuwa is the name of the company. Classic Japanese. What I found interesting about this compared with other cases is that the zipper turns into a carrying handle, so that you can, like when you set it in your backpack or bag, this can be an easy little pull handle to pull it out. And I am very partial to these sort of like mini box cases because they can very quickly turn into sort of a portable desk drawer cubby kind of thing. And I don't have, despite the name Well-Appointed Desk, I don't actually have a dedicated desk in my space. So I'm often carrying my supplies back and forth from the kitchen table to my work table to a coffee shop to a hotel room, those types of things. So I like when my pencil bag can be converted into something that is easy to use, to sort of just flip open, and I can have access and I can see all of the things that I'm carrying rather than sort of like the bottomless pit bag. So I'm gonna go through this one really quick and then I'll show it next to a couple of the other ones that I have. So I don't remember the price on this, but I will include a link in the post and in the links below for where the Jet Pens and how much this was. So the zipper, one of the things I really noticed right away is at the very bottom on the opposite end of the handle, and it's also here, are just little flaps to sort of keep things from necessarily falling out, because the zipper does not go all the way to the corners because they did this sort of funky handle thing. So this unzips, and because it unzips all the way around the handle, this whole thing will open up almost flat. And so I went ahead and filled this so that you guys can get some idea of how much stuff will fit in here. But this nice open compartment will hold, ruler, scissors, some small pieces, and then sort of an assortment of pens and pencils. It is long enough to hold like a brand new pencil in here. So that's kind of nice. I'm thinking of all of the, just like an unsharpened pencil would fit in here without any problem, should you need to carry that around. So I have just thrown in, let's see, I have 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 pens in here, scissors, a bone folder, a ruler, a stamp pad, and an eraser. And that all fit in here with no issues. And that's the other thing, is I probably carry around way more stuff than I should. And then there are, at the top half is a section for like just sort of loose items. So theoretically I could have put, the sort of the eraser up here in one of these little compartments. So there's a divided compartment on one side and then sort of an open compartment on the other. So I'm planning to use this with my planner. So these are mostly like what I would consider my sort of journal planner, junk journal supplies. And so on this side are an assortment of small clear stamps that I have sort of collected along the way that I tend to like to use. And they have those like little plastic shields front and back, but they're not very big. And so these are all just sort of stuffed in here. I could probably fit a couple more in if I wanted to. And then I have this little tiny acrylic block that I got somewhere along the way that is perfect for attaching those clear stamps, and it fit into this little pocket here. And then I print out color prints of the books that I'm reading or the books that I'm about to read, so that I can paste these into my planner as I'm reading the books. So those fit in here too. And I laugh because these are books that I keep meaning to read and I've had on my list for like several months. And I laugh because I keep reading other things. So I really need to like print out a new batch. And then the last pocket, I have my business cards. In case you're curious, I keep those in there. In case my cases get lost, hopefully this is a good way that someone could find me and let me know they found it, because who needs all this, but maybe, who knows. And then these are just old hotel cards with washi tape wrapped around that I do every month. And so these are the ones that I was using for both October and November. And I'm kind of trying to just plow through these so that I can have the cards back to use for something else. So I've been normally I carry around about 2 or 3 of these. This month I have 5, and they all fit in here as well. And then this whole thing zips up. So it's not super heavy. It's not super large. I'm going to grab a couple other cases so that I can show in comparison. Hold, please. So this has been, for the last year or so, actually for several years, has been one of my favorite cases. I don't think it's being made anymore, but it has like the hard frame, like an old lady's purse around here, and then opens completely flat to keep your pen sort of in this little bottom compartment, and then just this little mesh compartment for loose pieces. And when you compare it to this other case, they are about the same size. I think I like having the more divided and organized mesh pockets on this one. This one, I put the iron on. This is a hot dang press iron on. And honestly, I cannot remember what this case was called, but I did get it on Jet Pens. And there is no branding on this thing anywhere for me to tell you what it is. So, like I said, I don't think they make this anymore. And I have looked repeatedly for another one, just because this one is getting a little rough around the edges. But to compare in size, they're very close. This one's a little bit wider, I think, by about like half an inch maybe. So it's just like a tiny bit wider. But I think all of the stuff that's in here had previously been in this purple one. So I do think that it still holds a good volume. It might just be compressed a little bit more. And then another one to compare it to would be the Hobonichi, I think they call this the desk pouch, which is the other case that I have been using regularly because, again, like I said, I really enjoy when a case opens up completely. This one is a different type of organizational system, but kind of held the same amount of stuff. I was getting to the point, though, where I was overfilling this one a little bit. This little zipper compartment I used for the loose bits. I would put my ruler, scissors, that kind of thing, because it has these little leashes down here. So I would stick those in there. And then like some of the loose things like the eraser and stamp pad. And then I was putting the cards with the washi tape in here and then the pens in here. So again, this is much slimmer than this. So certainly if you're looking for something that's going to be like a slim fit, it's wider overall, but sort of a more narrow, slim design. And then if you were to compare these to, like, here's a standard Hobonichi Weeks. So this case is about the same size, just a little bit wider than a Hobonichi Weeks. This one is taller, but the same width. Like, it's actually, the Hobonichi Weeks is a little bit wider. And then this is obviously a little bit thicker, but like just to give you a sizing comparison. And then of course, the classic comparison is the Hobonichi Weeks to the Hobonichi Desk Pouch. And it's a little bit wider, just a tidge, but otherwise very similar in size. And it was purchased actually to coordinate with this. So as I'm rolling into 2026, I don't think it's a huge big deal. And I do tend to switch out my pouches here and there depending on how much I'm carrying around with me that month, how much I've got going on, and I would love to be someone who is like, nope, this is the only case I use. I only need one. But I do tend to mix it up every now and again. If I'm feeling more minimal, I really like to carry this one. I think this one will be great through the fall and the late fall and winter. It has that sort of dusky colorway where this one feels a little spring summer, and just, you know, if I'm going to be all color coordinating, why not? So those are the cases. This is, like I said, the Elgaba pencil case. I am not sure if it has a very specific name, but I will include a link in the notes below if you're interested in ordering one. I think it was available in a couple of other colors. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I don't normally do video reviews, but I thought for something like this where you'd really want to see it from all angles and see how the zipper worked, this was kind of good. So please let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more video reviews. Bye.